the more her YouTube channel grew, the more attention that she got from the community, but also the more attention she got from the IllnessFakers community. Everybody, Leia here. So I first want to say I know this video is late. So funny thing about my upload schedule, I apparently did not schedule my Chicago lookbook vlog correctly, so it didn't go up until Monday, a week ago Monday, and then I was supposed to film this video that I'm currently sitting down to film right now yesterday. However, after being in a 7-day-a-week mental health program for the last 5 weeks, I was too tired to do much of anything, so I literally laid in bed and slept all day yesterday instead of filming a YouTube video. And then even though I woke up early today on Sunday, I still did not feel like filming a YouTube video, so here we are. It's Sunday afternoon. It's 5 hours after this video was supposed to go live, and here I am sitting down recording it. Whoopee. So when I was trying to figure out what to film for this week, I know that I've been doing a lot of eating disorder content, so I wanted to take a break. So even though I do have another eating disorder video filmed, another one planned, I just didn't want to make an eating disorder video this week. So I went to my good old analytics, and yes, even when you have 19 subscribers, you still have an analytics page. And I looked at what my most viewed videos were this month. Well, I mean, my first most viewed videos were the Eating Disorder Story Part 2 and the Chicago Lookbook, but other than those, my most viewed was an IllnessFakers video. It was my media perpetrating IF propaganda. So I've decided that it's been a little while since I've done an IllnessFakers video, and I wanted to work on an IllnessFakers video that's been particularly close to my heart, that I've been thinking about doing for literally like the past year. Like, this is what inspired me to make the IllnessFakers series, is going into individual YouTubers and kind of telling their story, and then also telling the story of how the IllnessFaker community attacks them. And nowhere is this story more prevalent than with Chronically Jaquie. This video is going to tell Jaquie's story. I mean, Jaquie tells her own story, and if I remember, I'm going to link her in my down bar. So I wanted to take 15 minutes to tell the IllnessFakers the story of Chronically Jaquie, and then my next part will be how they attacked her, how they really obsessively, relentlessly posted things about her, and then the third will be kind of the legacy that she left on the IllnessFakers Reddit. And then if you guys like this series, I will do more of these types of videos. There probably will only be 2 parts, the story of the YouTuber and the story of how the IllnessFakers community attacked them and how they fought back, if they fought back. Chronically Jaquie was born in March of 1996, making her almost exactly 1 year older than me. She was born to 2 parents, neither of whom were from America. Her mother, who was Venezuelan, and her father, who was English, and she had Canadian and English citizenship up until 2017, when she became an American citizen. She traveled all over the world with her parents because her dad was a resort developer, and this allowed her to stay in many different countries. At some point, her family settled in Florida, specifically in, I believe, the, not Tampa Bay area, the Orlando area, I believe. She met her high school sweetheart, Judd, at a church, and the two hit it off immediately from what I remember. I could be fake news, but I know that they hit it off. They also had two best friends, Paul, who was Judd's best friend, and Janice, who was Jackie's best friend. Eventually, they grew up, and Judd joined the National Guard, and part of his unit, part of what he did was that they trained for deployments, and they went on deployments. That's a big part of his unit, at least according to Jaquie. And in 2016, well, in 2015, Judd spent most of the year training for a deployment, and in 2016, he was actually deployed. Around this time, Jaquie started to have medical symptoms. Now, she actually started her medical journey when she was early high school, I believe, with having seizures, and epilepsy was one of her first diagnoses. Over time, she came to accumulate 8 different chronic illness diagnoses, although some of those wouldn't come until 2017. She was found to have 2 different genetic issues. One is the PREP gene mutation, which is associated with autism and schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And the other was a mitochondrial genetic condition that was associated with a number of different conditions that she had issues with. As she explained it, her genetic conditions caused her to have medical issues, but those medical issues met the diagnostic criteria for certain medical diagnoses. The main ones would be Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and gastroparesis. She also had epilepsy, autism, and a total of 8 conditions, as I said. Around the time that she was in high school, her family tried to get a service dog for her, and things did not work out. She also tried to train her own service dog, and according to some Instagram posts, she began training service dogs shortly before her puppy Harlow was born, and she was working with a breeder who was going to breed service dogs. Jaquie was going to school to become an occupational therapist, and she began having more severe medical issues, including in between the end of December 2016 and the majority of January 2017, multiple mast cell activation syndrome attacks. She wasn't diagnosed with MCAS for several months, and she continued to struggle with these issues as well as with some pretty severe symptoms of gastroparesis. She was vomiting a lot and unable to eat. Then on June 1st of 2017, she had a feeding tube placed. This feeding tube would bypass her stomach and go to her jejunum, which is a thing that happens sometimes for gastroparesis patients, because since the stomach is a problem, the solution is to bypass the stomach. Her Instagram posts, I believe, had begun in 2015 or 2016. I may have to actually go look in the IllnessFakers archives to look at that. But her YouTube channel didn't start until the end of 2016. So it was there to document her month-long, basically a month-long hospital trip where she was there for 4 weeks in a variety of different in-out kind of scenario. In June of 2017, she got a feeding tube, and a few days later, she got married to Judd. She also had her service dog, Harlow, who would alert to her POTS episodes, as well as some blood sugar detection and some general just not feeling well stuff that Harlow, her dog, could sense. Jaquie had problems with her feeding tube basically from the start. She had problems with it getting clogged. She, I believe, eventually had a tube infection. It was always problematic for her, but it also usually always outweighed the benefits. It was a way for her to eat, but it was also a thing that landed her in the hospital frequently. Over the course of the next about 2 years, she continued to document her life on YouTube. She lived through Hurricane Irma. She showed us her trips to Disney, but also the ups and downs of going to the doctor and giving herself infusions for her POTS, and a number of other things. And the more her YouTube channel grew, the more attention that she got from the community, but also the more attention she got from the IllnessFakers community. The year 2018 was the hardest year for Jaquie. That was the year when she was in and out of the hospital. That was also the year when she contracted MRSA. MRSA is a type of infection that never truly goes away. It is a severe infection. It can be life-threatening. And even though it goes away, it can come back once you've gotten it because the bacteria has infected your body. Or at least that's how I understand it. She struggled with hangnails, which would get infected and lead her into hospital stays. She also continued to struggle with allergy problems from her MCAS, and the feeding tube continued to give her issues. But by 2019, things were really starting to look up for Jaquie. She announced that she and her husband were going to be looking into buying a house, and her husband announced that also he wanted to get a new dog. Not a different, have Harlow, but then also have a friend for Harlow that wouldn't be a service dog. And generally, things were looking up for Jaquie. She had to unenroll in college throughout all of 2017 because she was in and out of the hospital too frequently. Between 2018 and the beginning of 2019, she decided that she wanted to go back to college. But instead of wanting to do occupational therapy as she had initially envisioned, she realized that she would much rather do something called marketing. And in early 2019, she also did something that she had never done, which was having her first job in years. Now, she had trained a service dogs before. That was not a job for her, and she had also done some karate stuff, but for her, her first job in a while, I think is what she said. I don't remember if she said first job ever or first job in a while, was working for a local business, taking pictures and updating their social media pages. And she was now getting a degree in marketing. I think it was either marketing or mass communication, something like that, from a local college. Around this time was also when she met Izzy Kornblau. I hope that's how you say her name correctly. And Izzy was Izzy is another YouTuber with EDS, gastroparesis, and POTS. And things were looking really good for them. They even found the home that they were looking for. It was going to be a 4-bedroom, all on one level, that would give them space for their guest room, for Jaquie to have an office, for Judd to have extra space. There was even going to be a yard for Harlow. And things looked up until they started to look down. In early April of 2019, Jaquie was hospitalized because she had a weird medication side effect. And as she was in the hospital, she was continuously having issues with her mast cells. She had an entire year almost of hospital stays. I think that it was over 100 days inpatient in 2018, if I'm recalling this correctly. I'm remembering a lot of this from memory. And so here she was after being months without being hospitalized in the hospital again. And this time it was while they were buying a home. So even though Jaquie was in the hospital, things were looking up. They were going to have their new house, and she was very hopeful that she would be going and living in that house. She would be making content of not just about her illness, but about home decor and being homeowners. And the future just seemed so bright. Her videos were infectiously happy because for her, she was reaching all these goals that she wanted to reach for herself. Unfortunately, Jaquie would never see what the house looked like with all of her furniture in it, because at the end of April, her family did close on the house. And in closing in the house, that meant that her husband was going to do all the moving, well, with movers, of course, with help of movers, and she was going to have to stay in the hospital, and then when she got out, she would enjoy their home. But that never happened. A few days later, Jaquie started to have severe medical complications. Throughout the entire hospitalization stay, she had dealt with pretty severe bloating, I believe to the point where someone asked her if she was pregnant. But bloating was a normal thing for Jaquie. So was some pain. It was a part of her gastroparesis. What she didn't know was that her feeding tube, the thing that had sustained her for the past 2 years, was getting wrapped around her intestine. It cut off the blood flow to her intestine, causing her to have all sorts of medical complications, and by the time they realized this, it was too late. And sadly, Jaquie passed away on April 29th, 2019. She was incredibly young. She left behind over 100,000 subscribers, a loving husband, a caring dog, and her best friends, Paul and Janice. Her life and even her death were heavily scrutinized by the IllnessFakers community. And it really cemented her as kind of the person in my mind who I think of when I think of the IllnessFakers community. And I'm going to get into the ways that they bullied and mistreated her in the next video. This video is coming out about 2 weeks before the anniversary, the 4th anniversary of her death. And I'm going to try to have that video up around the anniversary of her death because Jaquie, not to get too personal here, I didn't know about Jaquie until after she died. I actually didn't find out about her until 2020 actually. And initially, based on the way videos were titled, I had thought that she had just stopped uploading. I didn't realize she had died until I accidentally stumbled on the IllnessFakers community, and actually researching Jaquie was how I found the IllnessFakers community. And I can say that even though I was not a follower of hers until after she died, she had a big impact on my life. She's a big reason why I've been diagnosed with hypermobility spectrum disorder. She's a big reason why I've been diagnosed with gastroparesis. Well, oh yeah, I guess I haven't told you that story. Surprise, guys, I do have gastroparesis. This was not the time or the place to tell you that. But her videos helped me so much. They helped me get through some of the most difficult times in my life after I was diagnosed with diabetes and when I started to have very severe stomach problems. And I know that I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only person that Jaquie had a big impact on, and that's why I think it's important that we share her story. She was someone who lived every single day, lived life to the best that she could. And maybe it wasn't the best that everyone could, but it was the best that she could. And one thing that I really liked about Jaquie's channel was that even though it was a lot about her chronic illnesses, it was also about her life and her love of Disney, her love of her husband, her love of her service dog, her school. Like, there was so much more to Jaquie than just her chronic illness, and she really showed us her everyday life. And as she was going on more and more, it became less about the illness and more just about Jaquie. And I really wish that I could have followed her when she was still alive, because she was such a happy, bubbly personality. But, okay guys, this is about all I had for this video. I'm going to link her channel down below. You can watch it. I may even make a playlist of Leia's favorite Chronically Jaquie videos. Let me know if you want me to do that, because I definitely will. And, yeah guys, the next video is going to be about how the IllnessFakers community treated her, and then the third video is going to be kind of how they treated her in death and the legacy that she left on that form. So, alright, bye guys.